Hi everyone, it's your girl Lucia, and you are welcome back to Lucia's Corner. It's been so many months, I know. A lot of things have been happening, I've been busy, I have had a lot on my plate, but I am back now. This year, 2023, it's you and I. You and I. So, Happy New Year. May this year bring us like more joy, more happiness, we fulfill our heart desires, and we see each other a lot here. So you guys have not been seeing me like a lot here because I was pretty much very occupied. I work, and I also started going to school. I applied to a school to pursue my postgraduate degree. So getting it together with work and school was very difficult, and I literally had no time for myself to even be here and be talking to you guys. So I'm excited to be back, and this year, as I said, it's gonna be you and I. So I pursued my master's in international relations and diplomacy. I offered mass communication, and I majored in public relations, PR. So it kind of goes it actually goes hand in hand, and with the work that I'm doing now, it kind of like dives right into it. So I was very excited, and I'm going to share how the whole starting process and what you have to do, what I had to go through, the stress, the like everything, people you meet, like the experience, what I experienced, I wanted to share with you guys today. So stay back, relax. So the first step is finding a school that you feel comfortable, it actually aligns with what you want to do. So I wanted to study international relations and diplomacy, and through my research, it was just two schools in Ghana, that is University of Ghana and Gempa. So I was like, okay, let me look at the other options. Like, okay, what goes into it? What goes into it? Like, what school am I choosing? So I researched more, and I got to know that Legon, which is University of Ghana, you have to be a full student. I cannot be a full student because I'm a worker. So I was like, okay, let me move to Gempa. Yes, and Gempa actually is worker friendly because of the time. So they have like evening, weekend, and I think a regular. So I thought weekend is definitely hectic. I am not going to sacrifice my weekend. So let me look at the evening. So after finding the school you want to attend, like Gempa, everybody was like, oh, it's worker friendly. After you're done with your research and knowing the school you want to attend, the next step is application. So with my school, application was quite easy. You go to their website, you Google, you look into the schools you want to attend and the courses you want to do, and you download the application. It's just about how you have to take it to your lecturer, you have to take it to, if you are working, you have to take it to someone who's like in a public institute, and other different things, basically getting everything ready for school. So it was I was blessed because my lecturers, some had traveled, like those who really knew me, some had traveled, and I was like, oh my god, as I'm going to school, those that I know have traveled, like what am I going to do? The spirit was like, just go. So I went to the school, I met some few friends. I was like, hey, do you know any lecturer? No, I actually met friends who were now TAs they were my colleagues, and they were TAs now. So I was like, oh, do you know any lecturer that used to teach us? And they were like, oh yeah, there's this lecture, there's this lecture, there's this lecture. I was like, okay, let me just go to this one lecture. So I went to him and I was like, I know I am so sorry for barging into your office, but I really need help. I am applying to this school. I really need your help. And he was really receptive towards me. He was like, okay. He looked through it. He was like, okay, go and come back tomorrow. So I was like, okay. So I went home, prepared other stuff, and I went back and it was done. He was like, oh, you can have it, and he wished me luck. Quickly wrapped up with the application and I went to the school and I submitted. You can also apply online, but my school, I called and the lady was like, oh, you can bring it. So I quickly went, I think the administrator, so I quickly went there and I was like, oh, I hope I'll be upset, because I was actually a little, I don't know if I was days late or it was almost the deadline. They had extended it a little bit, something like that. So she was like, don't, you are lucky, so hopefully I'll hear from them. And that was like the dreadful part, waiting to be called, like waiting to receive a good news, waiting to be told you're part of the next batch. Then one day I was just I think I was at work and I got this call. I was like, hello. He was like, oh, hi, this is from Gempa, and please come to the school tomorrow to this faculty. And I was like, okay. Please tell me what's about. She's like, please come. I was like, oh, okay. So the next day I went to the school. I quickly rushed. I was like, hey, yesterday you guys, someone called me. She was like, okay. Someone called me and I was given a letter. I prayed. I was like, this has to be it. I prayed and I opened it and it says, congratulations, you've been accepted into this school. You need to write an acceptance letter, and after that you have to pay a fee. You have to pay a fee to show your what's the word, dedication, or to show that you want to be added. Like you until you pay the fees, you're not a student. So I was like, oh, thank God. So I quickly wrote my acceptance letter and I sent it back to them. I think on the same day, because I wasn't taking any chances. So I sent it to them, and yeah. So the next part of it is the fees. Yeah, the fees. Yeah, so I had to pay 5,000, yeah, to show my dedication, like I wanted to come to the school. Then as time goes on, I was paying little by little. I was really grateful. It was very flexible because I had a lot of like things going on and I couldn't just take the whole amount and just like put it there. You can pay like every semester, you can pay like an amount. Every semester there's like an amount you can pay before you can register. So I was really grateful for that. It really put my mind to rest. So now we are getting on the fees. I paid 5,000 at first. Then it was the rate is definitely, it's a 1 year course and it's above 10,000. So yeah, and I was really grateful. There was like a range you could pay every semester in order to register. So it was kind of like flexible. So it was really good. But when it comes to the fees, depending on the school, whether it's a private school or a government school, some places pay high, some places pay like very, very low. So it depends on the school you are attending and the course you are offering. That is what will determine the fees. So in terms of the school fees, you can also apply to get like scholarships. So there's like Get Fund, which is like the government scholarship for students. You can get like personal scholarships or personal assistance, or depending on how your plan was to pay the fees. So you can have like a private scholarship, government scholarship, or anything else, or someone can actually sponsor you to pay for your fees. So I was in the evening class, which starts at 6 to 9, so 3 hours of studying. So I would leave. So let me start from the morning. So in the morning, because I was working, I leave home at 5:40, 5:40, 5:50. Then it takes me like 1 hour 30 minutes in traffic. So I get to work like 7:30. Sometimes I get to work as early as 7, to beat the traffic. So then I leave work at 5, sometimes 4:30 if there's not much to do or I really have to get to school on time. So I leave at 5 or 4:30, and sometimes I get to school really like 6:15. When I leave early, I get to school almost 6. So it was okay. At first, I used to leave. My bosses were really good to me, and she was letting me leave around 4:30. So I was really grateful for that. Then when I started getting tired, I was leaving at like 4, 5. Yeah, 4:30, 35, 40. Sometimes I'm like, let me just leave at 5, because I was so tired and I was overwhelmed. I began to feel overwhelmed by the schooling. Approximately, I was spending 2 hours to 2.5 and 3 hours in traffic to get to work and to get to school every single day. It was very hectic, very hectic. If you're working, it is hectic. And even if you're not working, it's still hectic. Because so this is one funny thing. It's not funny, but it was just really funny to me at that time. Still it's funny to me. So I'll talk about it. So after I got to school, the next thing was finding the lecture hall. Especially on your first day, finding the lecture hall. That is up for another discussion. It was really difficult. I was so grateful that I sat in a taxi with a friend. No, at that time she was not my friend. So I sat in a taxi with this lady, and when we got down and we were all like, hey, asking for people, like, do you know this, do you know that? She was like, oh, it looks like we're in the same class, international relations. I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, we're all going to the same place, and we literally have like maneuver ourselves. And it's the first time a lot of people don't know where they are going. Like, everybody's just like rushing to get to where they are. So it was quite a challenge, but it was easy because my school it's not that big, so you're able to maneuver yourself. But like other schools that like have big campuses and stuff, is very difficult. So maybe I would advise that you would know the time, you would know the hall before the day, or you come very early to get around the place and know exactly where your lecture hall is. It was really difficult for me in the first day, but because I had someone to maneuver around, I think it was quite easy, and it was fun too. I met an amazing lady, and she's still my friend. So we found the lecture halls, and I think number of people were already in class. The lecture had not yet entered into the class, so that was good. Then the next thing is, how many hours do you spend in the lecture hall? From 6 to 9, so 3 hours. 3 hours. Spending 8 hours at work and another 3 hours in school. So 8 plus 11 hours. 11. Oh my god, it was difficult. From 6, you're excited, you're learning. 7, you're learning. 7:30, 8, you're okay. Then the 8 to the 9, it was very difficult because you're tired and some people are sleeping, and like you are all tired and you're just like, can we go now? Like, you're definitely not going to say, can you go now? But the lecturer will just know that, hey, these ladies are tired. And my first lecturer, he was really good. He was like, I know you guys. He was like, hey, have you guys not eaten or what? And I was like, we've eaten, we're excited to learn, and it was good. I think the first day he goes like 8:30, and he was like, this is not going to happen, so you guys need to gear up when you're coming, because it's not going to happen again. We are going to close at 9, and sometimes I'll even take a little bit of your time. Everybody was like, hey. So yeah, 3 hours was quite a lot. Then the stress that you go through whilst in school. I have a lot to talk about. So number one, leaving work. So I was working, so I'm gonna place my experience on working, like my conversation on, because I was working. So I had an experience as a worker. So going to work at 8, going to work, spending 8 hours, being in traffic at least 2.5 hours to work and to school. You get to the lecture hall, the first, second day, like the first week is really difficult because you just don't know what you're learning and you're just confused and you're just looking at the lectures and you're like, oh my god, am I ready for this? Did I really come to school? Like, you're thinking you're the average student. You know, we always say, if somebody can do it, I can do it. I'm not the brightest, I'm not there. I'm not the brightest, I'm not there. You're an average student, but having your master's or postgraduate degree will humble you, especially on this statement, because I used to say that all the time. I'm like, if somebody can do it, I can do it. If somebody can go to school and can go to school and work at the same time, I can do it. It's difficult. The first day was like, okay. The second day, I cried. I felt moody the whole time. That time we don't really have friends in school because you're still like navigating this, like your second time. I went home and I cried the whole time because in my mind I was like, what have I gotten myself into? I'm already working and I cannot do this, and I just already stressed at work and now I'm doing this again. I cannot do it. And I actually spoke to like 2 friends and everybody was like, you can do it, it's just normal, it's the first day, of course you don't want to get everything, so just relax and read and you get whatever you're doing. It was crazy. The stress was crazy, and even after work and even after school, especially if you don't have your own ride or your own car and you have to use public transportation. Now, getting to school is not easy. Going after school, and imagine it's at 9 p.m. What are you going to do? Are you going to take an Uber? And at that time, Ubers, you can stay there for like 1 hour and you're not getting like an Uber or Bolt or Yango. You're not getting them because everybody's taking the same thing. Everybody's like quickly getting on their phone, ordering their Ubers. And if you're gonna get some, it's going to be like 20 minutes away, 15 minutes away. They're gonna cancel on you like all the time. They're always calling you. Gonna Uber, especially when it's late. Hello, please, where are you going? Oh, I'm going here. Oh, I can't go. Sometimes they'll not even tell you, but they'll literally they'll not tell you, number one. Number two, they're not going to cancel it. You're just going to be on it, and sometimes, especially when you're speaking to a friend, you totally forget about it, thinking your Uber is coming. No, you look on it, you look on the app, and you're like, oh, he's not coming, and he didn't cancel too, and you'll be so furious. But there's nothing you can do. So that is like the stress you go through, and you get them like 10, 11, and you cannot take it anymore because you have to wake up again and go through the whole process again. So I was very, very grateful when I had friends who were moving just on my way. So I was like, oh my god, thank you. I became like a leech. I would hop into their cars every time we close. When they don't come to school, you're in trouble. Like, you have to be their keepers. You have to say, hello, I hope you're coming to school. I want to remind you that we have class today, especially on Mondays, that we have class today. You cannot stay at home. You have to come and learn because you did it right after school, and they'll save your life. So it's good to make friends and who are going to help you and support you, especially when you need it. And also to help you understand things, because I was very grateful to get friends like that who wouldn't mind me being in their cars and dropping me somewhere which was like closer. That was really, really nice of them, and it made my master's or my postgraduate very easy. So it was very difficult. Like I said earlier, I was a worker, so I'm placing my experience on being a worker. Then So I had this friend or my colleague were in the same class. I think about a week she wasn't coming to school, and I was like, oh, is she okay? And everybody was like, oh yeah, she's fine, we've heard from her, she's doing great. I was like, okay. So the next week she came to school, and she was not a worker or anything, she was like a full-time student. So she came and I was like, hey, what's up with you? Why didn't you come to the whole of last week? Like, what's up? Is everything okay? Was everything okay? I heard you were doing well, so I didn't really want to bother to call you because I knew you were doing well. You're not like sick or anything. She was like, lady, I was tired. So I decided to take the week off and rest. And I was like, you're a full-time student. I was just like, yes, but I'm very, very tired. I don't know how you workers do it, but I nearly crashed. My system nearly crashed, so she had to take like 1 week off. And to me, at that time, and maybe today, I think that was funny because I was like, oh, then what about those of us who are working? Like, then it's crazy for us. Then the stress, if you are married or you're pregnant, I give you this because I am a single lady. I live alone. I am stressed. I was like very, very stressed. Like, I don't take care of anybody at that time. I would just come, sleep, wake up, good. Like, I was living a free life, but let me tell you, I was very stressed. So think of those who had families, who take care of their kids. Somebody will go to the hospital and say, oh, my child is not, I couldn't come today. And my husband, they cook for their husbands and all that. And the pregnant women, like, they did great. Like I'm single, I'm not pregnant, nothing, but I'm stressed. So compare that to someone who is like, who has a whole family to take care of, and women responsibilities, and also someone who is pregnant. Like, I think they did amazing. They did amazing because it's very, very difficult. The stress alone will kill you. your thesis, your field work is also another stressful event. Like, people actually opted not to write thesis and have like 5 subjects or 5 courses that they would do instead of having like a 1 course and a thesis, because it's stressful. Like, every Ghanaian or every student knows how project work. Thesis is very stressful. And in my school, we're actually encouraged to do our thesis so that hopefully one day, if you want to advance your education or you want to do something or you want to go into research, it would help. But it's very difficult. So a lot of people actually didn't want to do it, but we were encouraged to do the thesis. Now, going to school and doing thesis, like, it's very, very tiring. And I don't know why people make or people make postgrad easy. Like, they say, oh, you just have to get on. Their line is difficult. It's very, very difficult. Those things alone, and what's gonna break you or make you is your supervisor. Like, there are some supervisors who are like very, very strict. I got a very strict supervisor, like a supervisor that everybody actually ran away from. Like, they took their stuff and they ran away from the supervisor. I actually did not know they had run away. I would have run away too. So I was going, and at that time, because we had only like 1 course, we meet like once in a week, and I was very busy within that time, so I was not even going to class for the 1 course, because that time was our busy time. We're traveling because of work, we're going to like other places, and I was not really coming to class. So one day we all met after school. We're like, oh, let's go and get some drinks as a family. So whilst we're there, I was like, oh, how is your thesis going with the lecture? She was like, with the supervisor. He was like, oh, I moved to someone else. Oh, I moved to someone else. Oh, I moved to someone else. Then I realized I was the only one who was with my supervisor. Like, how could they do this to me? How could they do this to me and not tell me? I would have escaped too. Now, I was already with her. She knew my name. I was already with her. We knew each other's names. We knew our email addresses. Like, she could find me if she wanted to find me. Like, they didn't go to their supervisor, so they could run away. But This supervisor knew my face, knew my name, knew my everything, knew my index number. Like, I could not escape. So it was difficult. It was difficult because I think when they want the best from you and they want perfection, they push you to do a lot, and it was just, I cried at a point. I was like, I'm tired, and especially I kept on hearing like stories. I think it's the stories that make things worse. So people were like, oh, this supervisor can make you graduate later. Like, after, when you have to graduate, you're not going to graduate because this supervisor is not going to give you the luxury of the time. She wants you to do perfect, and you have to do everything that she wants you to do. And I was like scared, and I cried, and I was like, where did I pass? Why is that I'm not lucky like that? I'm never lucky. This is also part of why I don't know what to do. I'm tired. I don't know what to do again. It was stressful, but I think in the end, I was able to, I think and I also think when you understand someone, it makes life easier. So I heard what people were saying, and I was like really scared. But I was like, let me see what I can do. Let me try it. If I can't make it or it's not working, then I take it up there. I take it to the dean, or I take it to the rector, or I escalate it because I cannot work with this person. But it was good. It was stressful. I cried at the time. At a point in time, I had to cry, but it was good because I think this person pushed me to really get the thesis that I was working on. I was not just doing it like, oh, you have to, it's part of the requirements to graduate, but she was letting the thesis go through me instead of me going through the thesis. Like, the thesis went through me, and I really understood what I was doing and my focus and how I could enhance that in the future if I wanted to, or make a whole project out of it. So it was really, really good. I went to her and I graduated with my friends, and everybody was like, wow, what did you do to this supervisor? And I was like, I did nothing. I guess I cried, and I guess I prayed, and I guess I stayed up all night to make every change that she did, because she would mark everything. Like, she reads everything, every comma, every stop, everything, like everything. And I admire, to think of it, I really admire her, because wow, to think of it now, I'm grateful I got her, and I'm grateful I learned what I learned, and at least I know I have the school has gone through me. So yeah, my experience at school or pursuing my postgraduate degree, there was advantages and disadvantages. So number one, I'll start with the advantages. The advantages was you get to learn something new, and and with my course, it was very exciting because it's basically what is happening in the world and foreign policy, relations with other countries. So it was definitely nice, and getting to learn about the history of other countries, Ghana. So I really, really enjoyed my course. Then secondly, the second advantage that I think I experienced was you get to meet new people. Now I have like new bunch of friends, and who they make a bigger part of my life, and I'm really, really grateful I got to make these friends, and I got to meet them at that time of my life. So the disadvantages of pursuing a postgraduate degree, and as I said earlier, I was working, so it was like a double thing. You get no time for yourself, no time, read my lips, no time. You get no time for yourself. I was in the evening class, and so I'll get to school at 6, leave at 9, get home at 10. The weekends was for myself, where I would read, or sometimes I would work over the weekend, or just rest. I don't know how I could never have a postgraduate, especially whilst I'm working on the weekend. I don't know how the weekends do, because weekend you go on Friday, you go on Saturday, you go on Sunday. It takes away your life. Like it scrambles your life, it smashes your life, and it takes it away from you for like 1 year, sometimes 2 years. It just takes it away from you. So that's the disadvantage of pursuing a postgraduate degree. It takes everything away from you. Like you don't get to go out like you used to. You don't get to enjoy. You actually feel guilty if you're watching a movie, or if you're out enjoying. You can't really travel because you're just thinking about school. And you need to fulfill obligations. You have to be in school every day, or you need to write like a letter, and you cannot absent yourself for like 6 days or so. So that was also like something you have to look out for. So as you have no time for yourself, you also have a lack of commitment. You cannot commit to anything. Like your friends will be like, oh, let's go to Twist, or let's go to this restaurant on Saturday or after class. Like you cannot make a promise, because when you make a promise, you can break that promise. Like you cannot make that promise. You can only say, I hope to. So it got a time I saw a drift between me and my friends, because I was not getting time for anything, and it was hurtful. It broke my heart, but it was not my fault, and there was like nothing I could do about it, because I had gotten myself into the situation, and I gotta fix it. And how to fix it? How do you fix it after you graduate? So there's a risk involved. Like I had the evening class, so I would go to school at 6 and I would leave at 8:30, 9, normally 9. So it was very risky. It's late. You're not driving. You have to use either an Uber, Bolt, Yango, or a taxi, or a Trusky. So when I would take Truskies and I would have to walk home at a certain point, it was very scary, because what if somebody snatches your bag? What if someone hits you? What if someone steals from you? Like the what ifs are a lot, because it's late and it's never safe at night. So it was also it was risky, I would say. And sometimes I would cry because I didn't know what to do, and I was like, I felt hopeless, especially when my friends who was helping me get home were not around, and it would take hours to get an Uber, and I would be so stressed, and I would like break down, and I'll cry, and I'd be like, why do I have to, why me? Overall, I am grateful for having this opportunity to get my master's degree in Ghana, and in my school. I'm very grateful. I have definitely grown from this time to this time. I've learned a lot. I have met people. I have new experiences, and I have definitely improved physically, mentally, and emotionally, because it's a lot. And so it definitely takes you from somewhere and it puts you somewhere, and you get a master's degree on top of it. So it was really good. When I was looking for a school and I was looking at my options, everybody was like, oh, you should go to Gimpa, as worker friendly. You should go to Gimpa, as worker friendly. You should go to Gimpa, as worker friendly. You will ask them, why is it worker friendly? Oh, you are a worker, so they will understand you, especially for the time that you start school. They will understand you. Basically, they will understand you. Yes, I'm not going to stress you that much. That is a lie. Do you know that is a lie? Because a lecturer will come to class. When you are late and you peep into the lecture room and the lecturer is not there, you're like, you're excited. You just go, you sit down, no holla. But if you peep and there's a lecture there, that is an issue. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? Someone actually closes the door and you have to pass. You can't pass through the back, you have to pass through the front. And that is like embarrassing alone. Everybody will know this girl is a let's come up. So, then your assignments and your field work. Sometimes you have to produce something in 3 days. But this is the case, you work the whole day, you go to school after work. Like you get home around 10:30. What time are you going to read? What time are you going to do this assignment? What time are you going to sleep? What time are you going to be up? And do the whole cycle or repeat the whole cycle again. So that was a difficult one. So them people saying, oh, they will understand you. I don't know where that understand. I know it was good. They definitely understand you, but they don't. That is not an excuse. They know you're doing a lot, but that is not an excuse to not do your work or to not do like your field works or your assignments and all that. So yeah. So don't take what people say just like that. Like, you have to research very well and have your and know what you're getting yourself into. Please don't forget to subscribe, to like, and also to comment.